Hey, what's up guys? It's me, Keegs, back with a brand new video. And in this video, I'm going to be reviewing episode 4 of Chucky season 3, Dressed to Kill, the mid-season finale. So with all that said and done, let's get right into it. Alright, so episode 4 of Chucky season 3, titled Dressed to Kill, kind of continues off from episode 2. As you know, episode 3 last week was more of a, it was really just like a flashback to of the events leading up to why Chucky's in the White House. And so the reason he's in the White House is because he's dying of old age. Damballa has abandoned him because of the exorcism in season 2. He's been infected by what they call Christian magic. And so Damballa has abandoned him, and part of that is that now Chucky in the doll body, he's aging. So he has to sacrifice 6 people in like the most evil location, which he believes to be the White House in this case. And so we kind of continue on from like where we left off in episode 2. Jake, Devin, Lexi, they're getting ready for the Halloween party. Um, you're going in like good guy costumes. And one of the funny things about the whole situation, okay, so Jake basically makes the costumes. They show a little bit of it in like the second episode, but they don't show too much, and they're trying to figure out ways to get weapons in, and then it doesn't work. Like Lexi tries to bring in these like little sharp hairpins in that immediately get taken away, and Jake is surprised when they want to take some rope, some like toy rope he had, because he went as like a cowboy good guy costume, right? And he's told like, "Are you serious?" When the guard asks for the rope. And it's just a little bit silly. You really expected to bring that stuff into the White House. You know, it was kind of like a little silly detail. But yeah. So they do get in. They get their stuff taken away. My favorite part about that is like they're all getting scanned, and of course Lexi and Jake get their stuff taken away, and then they scan Devin, and they're just like, Nothing wrong with Devin. Have a good time." The guard tells them. So they get in. Of course, they immediately meet up with Henry's brother Grant, and they work their way to get upstairs, right? And so the whole thing going on with Chucky at this time is the kid Henry, the president's youngest son. He doesn't want to go to the party because he's afraid. We got Chucky here, as you can see, dressed up like the Phantom of the Opera, which was the costume that the real Joseph wore last Halloween before he passed. It's mentioned he passed dur- uh, during the winter, and um, it seems like the president, John, I believe his name is, President Collins, played by Devin Sawa. It seems like their son died like sometime after they had just become president, because they kind of mention it that it happened at the executive mansion and everything. So they're kind of throwing this party to like honor him. Now, one interesting thing that happens during this episode is that the president sees a little boy dressed up just like Joseph, with his Phantom of the Opera costume. These scenes, it's not Chucky because the boy has black hair. Um, some people kind of wondered if it might be Caroline. I don't think it is. Personally, I do think he's seeing the ghost of his son, and that his son is like in some way trying to warn him that there's evil in the White House, you know, and it's disguised as him. If more of that is going to come into play, sometimes things like this happen. They'll have like a little something that you think is going to go somewhere, but for all we know, this just could have been a scene that's like it happened, it's one and done, and we're not going to get anything else with it. Hopefully not, because I think that'd be a very interesting thing to go. And there's been like the theme of like ghosts, and we're gonna get more into ghosts when we get towards the end of this video. But anyways, yeah, I think it's the ghost, and really it can't be Caroline. I think if it was Caroline, they would use like the actress that plays Caroline. Um, and would have probably there's close up shots, so you can tell it's not Caroline, you know. And we also see pictures of the president's son, in his costume, without the mask, of course, but you could tell, it's like it's somebody younger than Caroline, and yeah, it's not Caroline. I'm going with the whole ghost. That's what I think it is. Um, Continuing on from that, Chucky's whole thing this episode is just the reason he wants to disguise his face. First of all, because he feels like he looks old. That's his whole focus. And he pretty much just like kind of hangs around with Henry this episode. We do see him in like the attic in one scene, kind of spying on the kids. He knows when they arrive and everything. And Henry doesn't want to go to the party, so he's being watched by this babysitter slash nanny, played by the SNL actress Sarah Sherman, who y'all might remember did a skit as Chucky in an SNL episode like last year, I think. She's well known for that. She's the second SNL person to have a cameo role in this season. The last week was Kenan Thompson. Both were really great. I enjoyed them both, and she had a very brutal death. Now I'm gonna talk about the death scene in a little bit. So while this is going on at the White House, we do have some scenes, the B story, if you will, of Tiffany arriving in jail in Texas. She's gonna be executed in like 3 weeks' time. Um, so Tiffany is brought into jail, and she's immediately kind of like the guard that's over her, tells her, you're not gonna pull any crap with me. I know you're not Tiffany Valentine. I know you're Jennifer Tilly, because everybody believes that she's lying, of course. And so she's put into with the special population, which has only one other prisoner, Evelyn Elliott, I believe her name was, played by Nia Veridos. I had it up right here. But if you ever seen the movie My Big Fat Greek Wedding, she played the main role in that. I think she wrote and directed it too. I'm not sure. I may be wrong on that. Um, but yeah, she has a cameo in this episode as well, and she was really great. There were a lot of gruesome death scenes in this, but her whole death scene was Tiffany basically getting a voodoo doll and using the voodoo doll to torture and kill Evelyn. Because when they first meet, they kind of get it off, and then a certain Tiffany mentions something that really upsets Evelyn, and so she tells Tiffany, who she thinks is Jennifer Tilly, you know, I'm gonna be cheering when they stick the needle in, referring to the lethal injection that Tiffany is gonna be getting in 3 weeks' time if she doesn't escape. Because let's face it, we know she's gonna escape. Um, so it was a very funny like scene. It's one of those scenes where it's like I forgot the word of it. It's like the certain kind of comedy they do, where you basically she's going around like slamming her head and stuff and everything, and physical. It's a very physical comedy scene. That's the word I'm looking for, physical. But yeah, Nia was great in that, and I always love seeing like people you would not expect to see in this series. So that's why it's always fun when they can get people like that you would never expect, right? She's mostly like she said. There was an interview with her with Nia, where she said she's mostly known for like romantic comedies. So she jumped at the chance to do this and was very excited to do it. And they always give these guest stars like the craziest death scenes. So it's very well done. Um, and so Tiffany has a plan to get out and everything. We'll see where that goes. So getting back to like Chucky, uh, Jake, Devin, and Lexi are looking all over the place for him. Like Lexi's distracting Grant. They have a moment, but this was one of my only gripes with this episode is that we have like this moment with Lexi and Grant in his room. It's a very touching moment and everything. Um, And then, if I remember correctly, they cut to some stuff that was going on with Tiffany. And then when they cut back, Lexi, Devin, and Jake are already back downstairs in like the main area of the party, and they seem really frantic. Like, of course, we know why they're frantic because they're looking for Chucky and they haven't found him yet. But it seemed like a abrupt cut from like we were just with like Lexi and Grant, having a moment, and then Tiffany, and then we cut back to the White House. Lexi's now back with Jake and Devin, and you can tell something going on. Something got cut. I believe something got cut, and there was a scene in between that kind of explained why Lexi just left abruptly. Of course, she's on a mission, so she can't really like be uh doing what she might want to do right now because she's focused on finding her sister. And of course, at this moment, they find Chucky. He's with Henry. Of course, Chucky's just pretending to be a doll. They kind of realize that Chucky's using, the moniker of Joseph to, that's how he got in close with the family. And so this all leads to the big climactic death scene in this building. Like, the reason Chucky was in the attic is because he was loosening the bolts on the chandelier, and so the chandelier drops onto like a bunch of people. The nanny, played by Sarah Sherman, the reporter that we've been seeing, which I thought there was gonna be more to that story. It seemed like she was working with the vice president. That was the vibe I was getting, because of some moments, but I guess not. I guess that was just that character's father, um, meat father for Chucky to kill in this episode and all this stuff. It was just a bunch of crazy stuff. So a bunch of people die. Devin almost dies. Jake kind of pushed him out the way, tackled him out the way, at the last second. Um, the funny thing about like there's this one silly scene like after death, all these people got like cut up by the chandelier, and you see the reporter and like she's got guts hanging out, right? And she she's a reporter. She went to the Halloween party as a reporter, right? She's got one of those old timey cameras, right? She's laying there just like you know guts all hanging out, right? She picks up her camera and takes a selfie, like most silliest thing I've ever seen in this show. And there's a lot of silly stuff in this show. But you love it. It's campy. You love the campiness of it. Cheesy. I love cheesy stuff. So it's a bit of a silly thing, but I thought it was kind of funny. And then the guards, the Russian president and his family upstairs. So Chucky gets away. The kids can't get to him. So Chucky does the Damballa chant to like lift the curse that's on him. Unfortunately, it does not work. As you can see here, we have Chucky, old Chucky. He's all wrinkly, he his hair's falling. In fact, part of his hair comes off when he pulls the Phantom of the Opera mask off. It was a very like freaky reveal. I was very shocked by it, and of course Chucky was shocked too that his work. Damballa has forsaken him. He screams. Uh, Henry walks in and he's like, "What's wrong? Are you sick? Are you sick again?" And then Chucky just turns around and he's like, "I'm fucking dying." It reminds me of like a lot. It reminds me a lot of like the scene from Child's Play 2 when he tries to get into Andy's body at the end. It doesn't work, and then he realizes he's been in the doll's body too long, so now he's trapped in there. Very reminds me a lot of that. I've seen other people mention that it reminds them of that scene too. So I'm really glad they're giving like Chucky stakes here because it's been a while since like the first three movies it was all about him getting out the doll body, and then like the fourth movie too. So the first four movies, he's trying to get out this body, and then of course he drags Tiffany into it, you know, and the fifth movie is really where he kind of seemed to be, get into the groove of being, a killer doll. That's his thing now, right? So now he's really started using the whole killer doll side of things, to up the ante, with his kills and everything. He just looks like an innocent doll. Obviously, he don't look like an innocent doll now, and it's just gonna get crazier as the series goes along. Um, so this was episode 4. If things were perfect, we begin episode 5 this coming Wednesday. Unfortunately, the actors are still on strike. Thank you, Hollywood. Thank you very much for that. We love what you are doing. We love the fact that Hollywood, studio executives are being very selfish. Please pay these actors what they deserve. Please stop with the AI BS. Okay. We know you can do it. They're not asking for much. You already made a deal with the writers. Now just make a deal with the actor. Okay. Okay, from what I hear, you're talking about like stopping negotiations till January. Don't do that. Just make a deal. All right. Everybody's tired of this. All right. Um. So yeah, like I've said before, this season got cut in half because of the strike. So mid-season finale here, but they did show like a preview of what's to come, next. So Chucky is gonna be looking a little worse for wear. He's gonna continue aging. So of course, like spoilers, I'm gonna pop up some images here that I want to talk about. So as you can see here, it's Chucky almost in his deathbed, looking like everybody says he looks like the Crypt Keeper, which is very funny when you think about it because one of the producers of the Child's Play movies is his name David Kirshner. I think, yeah. He also produced the Tales of the Crypt series, if I remember correctly. He was involved with it somehow. I think he was a producer on the show. Um, so they actually used the old like Chucky animatronic from the first movie. They used its eyes for the Crypt Keeper. That's I can't confirm that, but that's a story I've heard. So it's kind of funny that now Chucky's starting to look like the Crypt Keeper. You know, so he's continuing aging. There's some more things. He's losing hair. He looks like a deathbed. Like I'm wondering, like, how is he hiding? You know, is Henry like, keep him hidden away from like everybody and everything? And fun fact. This is actually what I look like when I wake up in the morning and I haven't had my coffee yet. So, very fun to see where this is gonna go. We've seen there's one part in the previews for like what's coming next where he's attacking the president and he basically has no hair. He's almost looking like the colonel, but if the colonel was like, part skeleton, it's so funny. I can't wait for these next 4 episodes. I really hope Hollywood makes a deal scene. And another interesting thing is that we have Brad Dourif showing up. Brad Dourif is the voice of Chucky. He's played Charles Lee Ray, as like Flesh and Blood in the first movie, and he came back, to play Flesh and Blood Charles for Curse of Chucky for some flashback scenes and stuff. Um, but the theory for this is that this is actually Chucky's ghost. That like he is gonna die, and we're gonna see this as his ghost in the White House. Don't know if that's gonna be true. Definitely think it's gonna have something to do with some kind of like ghostly aspect, because like I said, ghosts seem to be like a running theme this season. So I think we are gonna see like some more like supernatural aspects in the White House. But you can see this is Brad. He's got on the same suit, that Charles was wearing when he died and everything in the toy store. In fact, if you look closely, um, okay, so like so like on his right, what would be his right? Your left when you're looking at it. You can see like the blood stains where he got shot and everything, where Detective Mike shot him and all that. So how this is going to come into play, I have no idea. So one of the leading theories is that this might be the last season and possibly the finale of Chucky. I can't say for sure. I think if this was the last season, they would have announced it at the beginning. From what I've read, There is an interview somewhere, I haven't found it, but there's an interview where Don Mancini stated that he does have plans for a season 4. Um, so if nothing happens and the show is still doing good, we could get that. So I do believe that Chucky is gonna find he's gonna find a solution. How he's gonna get into another doll's body is a question that's up in the air. One thing I've been thinking about is there's a scene in the first episode where when Jake is making his little TikTok and everything, he's talking about he's looking for a good guy doll. You see a couple like messages in the chat. One is somebody saying like, "Oh, my brother used to have one." Another one is saying like, "I'll keep a lookout." Um, so we'll see if that's gonna come into play. But yeah, Chucky season 3, episode 4, Dress to Kill, very fun. Enjoyed it very much. As a mid-season finale, it works great. Um, now, now, they didn't work it as a mid-season finale because it was never planned to be, but it does work as one. So, they kind of got lucky with that and everything. But yeah, it was always going to end like this. We was always going to see like old Chucky and everything. Can't wait to see what's coming next. Please, Hollywood, make a deal with these actors. Sign a deal. They're not asking for much, but yeah, I'm gonna give this one a 10 out of 10. I enjoyed it very much. A bit of bit some silliness here and there, with some of the deaths, but that's Chucky. They get campy, they get cheesy, but I love it. What did you guys think of this episode? Let me know down in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next one.